Today, we'll be talking about the A+ certification from CompTIA. I pretty much took the exam, I want to say, yesterday, I believe. Yeah, it was yesterday, as a matter of fact. And I just want to go over some of the study materials and strategies that I used. Starting off, I know I did use the Udemy course from Mike Myers. I did both courses, the 229.01 and the 229.02 with Mike Myers. I also used Professor Messer videos, and you can check that out at professormesser.com. In addition to that, I'll also use David L. Prowse's Exam Crammed, the book. Not the one just says exam questions, but the actual book with the exam questions that you can read over. Prior to that book, I did buy Mike Myers' A+ book, but the book was really so long, it pretty much would have just been a hell of a time trying to read that long book. Mike Myers is real good, but he tends to go over the history, kind of over the detail, like a little bit too much detail, more than what you need for the exam. The Exam Crammed by David L. Prowse is pretty much a good book. It gets straight to the point, tells you what you need to know for the exam. And honestly, after watching the Professor Messer and Mike Myers videos, they did help me out. I did learn a lot, so I definitely got to give a big shout out to those guys. But even though I used them too, I still feel like something was missing, like I didn't have a full grasp of the knowledge. So I did log on to the Pearson Certification website, and they also have a video course from David L. Prowse. Now, honestly, it was a little bit pricey, but of course, the good thing with Pearson is you can get an academic discount. Luckily, I still have access to my student account, but you can get an academic discount for your CompTIA exams. So if you still have access to your EDU email address, your school email address, definitely use that, because I think it almost cuts the price in half. Buying exam vouchers and paying for certification, it pretty much definitely gives you a great discount, a huge discount. So I definitely would advise doing that. Even when it comes to using udemy.com and the Mike Myers course on Udemy, I don't believe in paying full price for any course on Udemy. Before I buy any course, I always look up promo codes. That's just how I am. I look up promo codes before I buy anything. I'm kind of cheap like that. But yeah, just getting straight to the point, man. Those are the resources that I use. This exam, is really basic. The exam, the first exam I had was 90 questions. The 229.01, I had like 90 questions. This is up to 90 questions. It don't mean that you have it, but 90 is the max. The second exam, 229.02, I had 80 questions, but 90 is the max. I want to say they gave me an hour and a half to 2 hours test taking time. And to be honest, I was freaking out over this exam. I remember when I took the first portion of it, the 229.01, I spent a little bit too much time studying for it, until just one day I just said, you know what, let me just go out there and just take the test, just go out there and take a gamble with it. And I passed. And so one thing I noticed, at least with me for these exams, is that you never feel 100% ready, but I felt like I knew enough to pass. The good thing was I was learning things. And with the exam itself, it wasn't so much about memorizing specs. It's more about getting foundational knowledge, because if you have the foundational knowledge for these exams, you can pretty much narrow down the multiple choice questions and whatever and things like that. The exam pretty much was multiple choice, if I recall. I think it may have been some drag and drop, some simulations and things like that, scenario based stuff. So if I was you, I would basically just focus pretty much on getting a good foundational understanding of the knowledge, because then you can always narrow the questions down. I did have the Professor Messer notes for both the 229.01 and the 902, but I did look over them, but I didn't really, kill myself as far as, trying to memorize all the different specs, how many does this and so have and that. I just basically focus on the overall knowledge, and I was pretty much able to, by process of elimination, find the right answer. So don't stress yourself on trying to memorize a whole bunch of specs and numbers and things like that. If you do know them, fine. You know, if you can memorize them, that's good. But I wouldn't just stress yourself. You know, after all, these are basic exams. So, you know, you do learn foundational knowledge, you know, real good knowledge. But like I said, do not take too much time to where, you know, you studying a year or, you know, just over a year for it and things like that, unless, you know, you have a busy life and things going on. But like I said, it's just basic stuff. So when it comes to these exams, definitely study. What I actually did was I watched Professor Messer videos, the entire series, probably 2 times. Mike Myers on Udemy, the A+ course, I watched that like 3 times. And usually, whether if it's Mike Myers, Professor Messer, or the David L. Prowse video series, the first time I always watch the series, I don't focus on taking any notes. I just literally watch the whole series all the way through just to get a general understanding. The second time and the third time is where I start to kind of take notes. The first time I watch it, I'm just trying to get a general understanding of the overall material. So, and when I did take the exam, I did 1 exam at a time. So I pretty much prepared for the 229.01, you know, did all the preparation for that, took that exam, and then I pretty much repeated the same process over for 229.02. Watch the videos once just to get a general understanding. The second and third time, you know, I would definitely jot down some notes. You know, try to, if possible, engulf yourself into technology, you know, especially if you have a passion for it, because if you constantly read up on stuff, it kind of makes the A+ exam a little bit easier. Like if you kind of engulf yourself in some of the principles that the A+ teaches, it makes it a lot easier to remember. So like I said, don't stress over the exam. It is challenging, but it's not the big bad wolf, you know, like a lot of people make it seem. Again, it is a basic entry-level certification exam. So I definitely suggest taking it. I know a lot of people hate on it. You know, some people are like, oh, this is a basic exam, this and that, you know. But trust me, I kind of had a little reservations about taking it beforehand due to all the negativity that you read online and that you hear from people. But I'm actually really glad that I took it because it really broadened my knowledge, and I've learned stuff that I never thought I would learn. Like, I actually know why we do what we do when it comes to computer troubleshooting, instead of just doing stuff and not really understanding what you're doing. It really will open your eyes to the possibilities of what goes on in the computer. It just really broadened my knowledge. So overall, it's a great certification. It's a great launch pad. So if you haven't taken it, get prepared, take it. And again, don't stress. Be confident. As a matter of fact, both times I walked in the exam room, I walked in confident. I figured, hey, what do I have to lose? Worst case scenario, if I fail, I can always get a printout, realize, and, you know, focus on what I didn't do good at, you know, that way I can go back and study those areas and go back and take it again. It's not the end of the world. It's not the big bad wolf that some people will make it. But you definitely do have to work hard and study. So it's kind of a walking that fine line. So that's pretty much all I have to say.